Arguably, the greatest of American novels in the 19th century, or in any century maybe, is Herman Melville's Moby Dick, which was published in 1851 in America and a couple of years later in England. Well, this novel is so long that it sometimes wander and you lose the thread of the narrative. And in the manner of novels such as Don Quixote or War and Peace, it cries out for an editor. So I would say that if this novel had been twice as short, it would have been twice as good. That's my argument for this. Even in the case of novels such as Don Quixote and War and Peace, it would have been true. I once regretted not having read this novel, but when I read it a couple of years back, I was just surprised by the astonishing information that Melville has included in this great book. It is about the journey motif, which holds so much of Western literature from the great Odyssey until Cormac McCarthy's great novel Broad Meridian. Okay. This novel is about whales, and we know that Hemingway also wrote a novel about the big marlin in The Old Man of the Sea in 1952. So there are somehow resources for that novel found in Melville. It is about cetology, which is the information that we get in this novel about whales, how to make blubber. Okay. And then the language of this novel is somehow biblical as well as Miltonic. I would say that it's biblical because Ahab, one of the main characters in this novel, or maybe the main character, Ishmael and Ahab, he is an evil king in the Book of Kings in the Old Testament, and there he turned all of the Israelites away from the worship of Yahweh. And that happens in the Book of Kings, and we know that Melville was deeply steeped in the tradition so that he was able to bring this character along. And some of the language of this novel, at least to my ear, sounds Miltonic. Miltonic in its use of, Satan's use of language in Milton's Paradise Lost. And I'm sure that none of my audience, maybe 2 or 3 of them, have read Paradise Lost or even this novel, Moby Dick. But if you know anything about Milton or the Bible or Moby Dick, you can just join them along in the same line. Ahab here is renewing the old tradition of searching for the Holy Grail, except that maybe here it is an unholy grail. And I'm going to read a couple of things from 2 chosen chapters from this novel. One of them is chapter 37. And then I'll go back to chapter 94, which I'll explain instead of reading from. But chapter 37 is a wonderful chapter in the sense that a man, Starbuck, is going to, take vengeance upon the creature called Moby Dick. So he says, "Vengeance on a dumb brute," cried Starbuck, "that simply smote thee from blindest instinct. Madness to be enraged with a dumb thing. Captain Ahab seems blasphemous. Hark you yet again, the little lower air, all visible objects, men, are but as pasteboard masks, but in each event, in the living act, the undoubted deed, there's some unknown but still reasoning thing puts forth the moldings of the features from behind the unreasoning mask. If man will strike through the mask, how can the prisoner reach outside except by the thrusting through the wall? To me, the white whale is that wall shoved near to me." That was chapter 37. It's a wonderful, I think, sentence or paragraph that I chose from. And then we have chapter 94 and 95. I won't go into chapter 95, but chapter 94 is aptly focused on squeezing of the sperm. It's called The Squeezing of the Hand. It's a long chapter again, and it needs an editor, of course, to cut some parts of it. And in that chapter, an entire crew is squeezing sperms, which spontaneously hardens and then turns into liquid. And after that, we understand that these people on the Pequod, the ship, are all united through this, squeezing of the sperm, which they later, has emollient effect on their hands. I hope that you got a bit of information from this little lecture that I gave on Moby Dick. I would have gone for more than 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours to talk about this novel, but I'm sure that this is enough because it just is a kind of stir in the direction of sending you off to read this long, gigantic, gargantuan novel. Thank you.